Flores, the UNESCO Director of the Geneva Liaison Office, to share her thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, and colleagues, good morning. On behalf of UNESCO, allow me first to thank the co-chairs of the Social Forum, Her Excellency Ms. Anita Pipan, Permanent Representative of Slovenia to the UN and other international organizations in Geneva, and His Excellency Mr. Carlos Sorretta, Permanent Representative of the Philippines to the UN and other international organizations in Geneva, as well as the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, for convening this critical forum. As our world stands at a crossroads of uncertainty, the call for social justice, solidarity, and strengthened multilateralism has never been so urgent. Education lies at the heart of all human rights. It is not only a right in itself, it is the great enabler, unlocking access to cultural life, decent work, health, dignity, civic participation, academic freedom, and freedom of expression. And the list goes on. As our forthcoming global report of the right to education highlights, where education thrives, so do societies. However, today, all the data shows that we are far from achieving SDG 4 on inclusive, quality education and lifelong learning opportunities for all. Our data shows that 272 million children and youth remain out of school. Attacks on educational facilities have risen by 44% between 2023 and 2024. And 70% of children in low and middle-income countries cannot read a simple text by the age of 10. Moreover, fewer than 5% of adults participate in lifelong learning. Compounding these challenges are chronic financing gaps. In 50 countries, debt repayments now exceed educational spending, eroding the very foundation of this right. We are missing 44 million teachers so as to achieve SDG 4. These are not mere statistics. They are a call for action. At UNESCO, we view education through the lens of lifelong learning, a continuing of learning from early childhood to adulthood across all spaces of life. This vision, reaffirmed by our Futures of Education report, calls for a new social contract that recognizes education as a public common good. This is echoed in the Sevilla Commitment and the Santiago SDG High-Level Steering Committee meeting, which reaffirmed that investing in education is investing in peace, sustainability, and human rights. Without education, no other right can be realized. Through our Evolving Right to Education initiative, we are reimagining this right for a rapidly changing world, one shaped by shifting demographies, AI, digitalization, greening, and increasing intervention of non-state actors, among other things. A recent report, AI and Education, Protecting the Rights of Learners, reminds us that technology must serve, not substitute, human development. It is time to strengthen, not weaken, multilateralism. Together we must act to uphold the fundamental principles of justice, peace, and human dignity on which our shared future depends. In the realm of education, this commitment is reflected across three key areas: political, normative, and networks. Political, through mechanisms such as the SDG 4 High-Level Steering Committee, this forum, and the upcoming Social Summit in Doha. Normative, by advancing the evolving rights to education and engaging in discussions around the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Networks, via, for instance, UNESCO's chairs and UniTwin networks, as well as civil society groups and other stakeholders actively acting on the right to education. because ultimately, education is where all human rights meet. It nurtures the mind to think freely, the voice to speak boldly, and the will to act justly. It is the foundation upon which equality, dignity, and freedom stand. When education is denied, every other right is weakened. When it flourishes, the full spectrum of human rights can be realized. Let me end by highlighting two key moments to note. First, our joint site event today from 1 to 3 in room 7, where we will launch 2 special issues in Frontiers in Education et l'Éducation en Débat journal, which offers reflections on how to renew the normative framework on the right to education through life. Second, our international symposium on the future of the right to education, to be held on 9th of December at UNESCO headquarters in Paris, to further advance our vision of an evolving right to education throughout life, mobilizing immediate action, chart paths beyond 2030, and reaffirm education as the guiding light of human progress. I thank you, and I wish us all a very fruitful forum.
I will now give the floor to the Director of UNESCO Geneva Liaison Office for her concluding remarks. You have the floor, Madam.
Thank you very much. Again, I express my appreciation for having been invited to be here with you today. And I'd like to thank all the different interventions and the different perspectives of the various inputs that we received, both from member states from NGOs and from even individuals and their own personal experience. I think this is extremely enriching, and coming from an organization where we are education, science, culture, where education is one of our strongest pillars, the possibility to be here and hear from you and hear from the comments also from the Special Rapporteur is also very important. We have here today a colleague from headquarters, from our education sector, who I'm sure has been taking copious notes of all your input and will be in contact as necessary and as required. But I'd like to conclude with one sentence which comes from my intervention, but I think unites all the different interventions, is that when education is denied, every other right is weakened. And I'd like to conclude with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.